long pull round. There it is. Happy days. We're just getting straight on with it. Right then guys, welcome to another episode of Hooked. My name's John Murray and I'm an angling addict, and today I'm on the banks of the River Ouse and I'm going after a barbel. So this is the fourth river that I've been trying to get a barbel out of this year. I've already had one attempt at it and not had any success, so this is attempt number 2. Now, time now is about 7:25 in the evening, so we're probably only going to get about 3 hours at this. If I don't succeed here tonight, then we'll just have to come back another day and try again. The plan today is to put out a few big feeder loads of meat furter ground bait. So it's meat furter, dynamite baits, meat furter ground bait. It's got pellets in there, and I've also, just to complement it for a hook bait, I've brought some pepper army, hot pepper army, because I think that's going to go quite well with the ground bait, but you know, what do I know. I'm going to fish 2 rods on this river tonight, purely just to try and double up my chances. The river is very, very low. I'm actually stood right now where the normal level is. It should be back here somewhere, actually, right where my toes are, if you can see them. So, just looking at this swim, I think my best opportunities are to actually send one rod pretty much across to the bushes on the far bank, and then another rod just into the flow beyond the willow branch that's sticking out to my left hand side, if you can see it. So that's the plan. Once I've got some feeders in, I'm just going to put the straight leads on. Now then, the rigs, let's take a look at them. So they're both set up in exactly the same fashion. Only difference being, at the moment I've got this great big fox feeder on to get some bait out there quickly. Probably going to put half a dozen loads in and call it a day. I'm going to do that on both lines. The business end is slightly different. Because there's a lot of snags in this river, and there are some big barbel and some carp as well, I've gone £15 straight through. And one of my viewers, I think it was Steve Williams, who recommended it, said, why don't you try going straight through, attach your hook with a Palomar knot and whip on basically a quick stop on a braided hair. So that's what I've done. I think he actually said to buy some corum ones, but anyway, thank you for that, Steve. I've taken that tip on board, and this hopefully will reduce any weak points in the rig, taking out the knots. So if you can see that, that's the setup. Just got a little bit of silicone on there, just keeping the hair tight, but basically that's whipped on with a knotless knot. I've blobbed it with a lighter, and then we've put a Palomar knot on the £15 straight through. Above that, we've got 2 float stops, and that's just down to a free running bead, and we can change the feeder out for a lead. So this is the meat furter ground bait. You see there's all sorts of pellets etc in there, and these are my selection of hook baits and the old pepper army hot. Remember guys, if you enjoy the videos, give them a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode every time I upload one. Okay, that's enough waffling, let's get some baiting. So this is a bit of a tough river to crack, to be fair. And that's bang on 7:30. But the big feeder will just allow me to get a fair chunk of bait straight down there. Hopefully draw some barbel in. So I'm going shy of those bushes, hoping that something lives under them and is going to come out. It's probably about, I would say, 8 foot deep in these swims. It's not hugely deep. Really is tight in here. Got some good depth where I'm throwing though, and obviously the bait will flow down just below that tree as well. I'm just shaking it out Not squeezing it in too hard. I'll make sure it gets out. Get down to the bottom but gets out fast. We've nearly done the full 2 pints of bait in just a few loads of the feeder. So it's a good amount of bait. It's enough for a short session just to tempt something into the swim. Squat down, just try and, yeah. Ideally I'd want to be a bit further left, but the trees overhanging are just preventing that cast. These great big feeders don't really lend themselves to an underarm lob. But it's not really a problem. So the downstream rod's in position with double source pellet on, and I'm going to put the other rod across with this piece of pepperami on the hair. I could have gone with standard meat, but this stuff stays on the hook better, and I don't want to be wasting a full tin of meat on a short session. And now all we've got to do is tidy up, sit back and wait for the fireworks. That's always lovely to see. Just spotted a kingfisher on the far bank. Often see a lot of them on the wharf, but not so much on the ooze. Oh, that was a big twitch. Just browsing my phone there. Fish just topped downstream and a big twitch on the inside rod. We've only been fishing a nice 10 minutes or so. Wouldn't it be lovely to get an early fish? That's another twitch. Let's hope this is a barbel and not a bream. Come on. Another bump on the tip. Something having a go. Of course, there's always a possibility it's a chub as well. Yeah, there's definitely something interested in those pellets. Come on, fire over. Is this a chub bite? Never can tell. Looks a bit chub-like. Probably going to be a roach. I wouldn't say no to a 2-pound roach though if you can take 2 of those 8mm pellets. Definitely just too much messing around with this now for it to be a barbel, I think. Could be a fish on this. I'll leave it. It's hair rigged, so whatever's having a go needs to suck it in and hook itself. Well, curiosity's got the better of me on this pellet rod, so I'm just going to check the bait's still there. And actually, it's gone. So I wonder if that was a chub. I mess about with it in the lips and I think he's had those pellets away. That's the problem fishing the long hair. A lot of the time the chub won't get the bait or the hook in the mouth. Oh, and that's a... well, that looked like a great big drop back on the meat there. Question is, Is that fish on? With a bite like that, it would have hooked itself. So that's the first inquiry on the meat, or the pepperami sausage. Just see if anything comes back to this now. Well, after that inquiry on the meat, or the sausage, I'm going to have to bring that back now. Have a nosy at that. Thought I'd give it a couple of minutes just to see if it went again. But actually, that bit's nice and intact. So we'll just throw that back out. A tiny little tap on the pepperami rod. So there's definitely fish in the swim. I just don't know what they are right now. But it doesn't half feel like Barbel o'clock. The light levels are fading. Still only 10 to 9. But it just feels like something's going to explode any second. Just feel it in my bones. Another tiny inquisition on the pellet rod. And there just seem to be maybe small fish mouthing at the bait, but just never can tell. Could be Barbel nudging around in the swim. That's another tap. So it's bouncing this left hand rod again. Nine o'clock. I'm going to check this pellet rod again after the minor inquiry we had on it. Just need to be confident we're fishing with a bait, and again those pellets have gone. I think what's happened is they've got a little bit soft and they're getting them off the hair. So I'm going to switch onto I think probably a dumbbell or something a little bit more resilient. Yeah, I'll pop a small Source dumbbell on. So at least now I'll have some confidence that we're actually fishing with a bait on both rigs as it gets a little bit darker. Right, I am getting dropbacks on both rods here. Just had one on the right hand rod and I've just had another one on this rod as I've reeled it in. This is unusual. I think there must be small fish. We're not getting hookups. So they're either bream, skimmers, or chublets, I would say.
Searching for the starlight, searching for the starlight. Will I find my way back home? Will I find my way back home? I'm moving through the shadows. I'm moving through the shadows. I'm following the light home. I know I'll see tomorrow. I'm moving through the shadows. The future's right.
Well, the light levels are really starting to drop now. I'm not sure if we'll capture anything on camera. I'll leave them recording, but I can't guarantee you'll be able to see what's going on. There's a few fish starting to roll just downstream, probably a little bit further out than what I've got the inside rod, but not as far as the pepperami rod. Don't know whether they're barbel or bream though. Lots of small stuff topping as well. No big crashes. Wow, two great big herons. Just had another inquiry on the inside rod, and that's going over. We're in. We are in. I'm not sure it's a barbel, but it feels a decent fish. Could be a chub. It's not tearing off. Finally, we've got a bite. Oh, it could be a barbel. Yeah, it's going now. Do not find a snag. Yes. Could this be River Ouse? River number 4. And another barbel. I just about see without my head torch on, but I'm gonna. So nervous about getting this fish in. Oh, he's scrapping all the way. Oh, I've missed him. Come on. Come here. Oh, I'm missing him. Well, I can't actually get him in the net. Struggling. I've got him now. I don't believe it. Right. It's not a big fish. It is not a big fish. But it is a barbel. Shaking. Ooze barbel. Ticked off. Right, I'm just going to give him a rest. Just sort the net out. Don't want him to get out. So, just going to bring the second rod in. So I don't want that ripping off. And then we'll sort him out. Give him a little rest. I'll get the lights on. And we'll see what we've got. Doesn't look a huge fish, as I say, but wow. I went down the middle with that rod. So the fish is resting. Just going to get my mat out, give it a damp down. Right, well, it's certainly not a big fish, probably 3 or 4 pound, but it's ticked off the ooze as a nemesis. I'm just going to unhook it. I'm not going to bother weighing it because the weather's been so hot. Right then guys, there we go, and as the clock strikes 10, it's probably only about 4 pound, but it's a beautiful, beautiful little River Ouse barbel, and I'm made up to tick off the 4th river, the 4th Yorkshire River this season. Get in there. I'll be back on the ooze later in the year, trying to get a bigger one. Let's get him back. So I'm just going to give him a last little rest in the net. Make sure he's kicking, get him out as far as I can in the flow. Nice big net. Make sure he rights himself. He's kicking like a good one, so I'm going to let him go. Thank you very much for that, Mr. Barbel. Please do sponge. Right guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know the drill. Give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and until the next one, tight lines.